Hey Charlie,
Hey
why is
Jimmy.
it why is it difficult to tell jokes about stormtroopers? They usually miss the mark. Thank you. Thank you.
And take a breath. Hello, explorers. I'm your host, Charlie, and welcome to a very special episode 109. As always, thank you so much for joining us. If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating on your podcast provider of choice, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're joining us via YouTube.
Wanna buy some dead stick?
Jedi.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
Always a pleasure to meet you.
And my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy!
You failed, Your Highness. I'm a Jedi.
Welcome back, explorers. We are excited for you to see and hear what's coming up on our main show today. I'm your host, Jimmy. And before we get into this, Charlie, how has your week been?
My week has been good. I'm still absolutely neck deep in packing. All I feel like I'm doing is filling boxes, moving boxes downstairs, filling more boxes, moving more boxes downstairs. So that's me for this week. Jimmy, how are you doing?
I'm good. I feel like I'm the only one in our group that's not packing and moving up. So I'm not sad about it. But yeah, I'm kind of chomping at the bit. By the time this comes out, I will at least have the audio version, Mark Thompson's version of the last book in the High Republic. So I'm super excited, super sad. It's really like a weird. It's had 26 books. So
Wow.
and not all of them have been adult novels. Like they've been like smaller YAs and then mid grades and comics. And well, the comics don't count as the books, but there has been a lot of literature on the High Republic, um, not to be confused with the Acolyte. And so, yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for that. It's summertime. We're getting stuff done around the house and getting ready to go back to Pennsylvania. So it's exciting. You know what would make this week even better, though, Charlie? There's one thing that
Mhm.
could make this whole week even better. That would be a fun fact.
Ah,
That
an excellent suggestion, Jimmy. I have a particularly good one for today. So, George Lucas's biggest issue when it came to Star Wars wasn't the studios, the budgets, or even the Wookiee costumes. It was the spaceship sets. Did you know that cleaners kept cleaning them? Lucas was extremely keen on keeping the ships grubby looking to give them that classic Star Wars aesthetic that we know and love. But every time he returned to the sets in the morning, the cleaners had scrubbed them shiny, and it forced the production design crew to re-dirty them all over again.
dang people when they do their jobs.
I know.
I know how he
Dang.
feels. Sometimes I walk into my classroom and my whiteboard's been wiped clean. I'm like, ah. I say, what would George do? And I rewrite it on my board. So me and George, we're like this.
Hmm.
All right. Well, that's pretty awesome. I guess that's awesome. The people are doing their jobs. Terrible that, is that in the prequels or sequels or OT? Do you know?
It's the OT when it
Okay.
was all very much kind of hands on deck,
Yeah,
everybody involved,
that
and
makes that
obviously
makes
all of
sense.
these props were kind of handmade and hand done. I cannot imagine the frustration. Obviously, I know the original trilogy was like a stress on George,
Yeah.
so I cannot imagine this kind of extra layer of just.
Yes, that makes more sense because everything was shiny and pretty in the prequels. So, all right, well, let's head over to our Force encounters for this week.
For my ally is the Force.
Oh, guys, as you know, over the last couple of weeks, I've been taking you through my little journey of kind of rewatching
Mhm.
Star Wars in chronological order. I'm having a brilliant time. I have just finished, as of last night, season two of The Mandalorian. I cried my eyes out. That's all I've done. That's all I've done watching season two. It's been even more emotionally hard hitting. I feel like they've cranked the dial up on cuteness for Grogu. So much of my time was spent. Oh, absolutely horrific and just sobbing and snot. But now we finished season 2 of Mando. That means we get to watch Book of Boba Fett, and I am so, so, so excited because I love it. Nobody else loves it, but I do. So let's go.
I cried a lot during season 3 of the Mando, but for different reasons, I think. So
Oh, same.
well, that's a good force encounter. Similar force encounter. We're getting ready. My beautiful wife is coming on the live show on Tuesday to talk Star Wars with me. So we've just been jumping all over the place in Star Wars this last couple of days. We watched the first 3 episodes of Mando season 1, which are great because my favorite's the third episode, chapter 3, The Sin. We watched she's like, pick a Star Wars movie, and we all know where I went. We picked Solo last night while we were building Legos together. So we were building Legos, Star Wars Legos, watching Solo. We watched a couple episodes of Kenobi. I'm not sure what we're going to get into tonight, but yeah, so that's been a really fun, and of course, getting ready for the High Republic book. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun Star Warsy stuff this week. But now I think we can head over to Batuu for the
The
news.
people in this crowd will soon be among almost 40,000.
For those who are among the
who've seen
900 with news media or promotional tickets, this sneak preview probably would be the only chance to see the Empire Strikes Back without standing in line.
Everybody make sure you're comfortable because these news clips are quite lengthy, and I apologize for my reading. I know Charlie sounds way better when she's reading stuff than I do, so I apologize in advance. Hopefully it won't take me 47 times to get through this one like it did the first time we tried. All right, so via Collider, big Boba Fett news. Collider's Maggie Lovett recently caught up with Tim Morrison to chat about his new movie, In the Fire of War. Can you say that the way it's written? The what is it? Would be
Um, Kawaawahi Tonu
see, she's
would
better at
be
everything,
my
folks.
guess.
Hey, sounds beautiful to me. And she mentioned how sad she was that we haven't seen him in the Star Wars since his series went off the air. Morrison expressed the same sentiment. I'm sad too. Where is the Book of Boba Fett season 2? Where the hell is season 2? I know they're doing Ahsoka season 2. I'm going, where's my season 2? He even pitched for Boba Fett to potentially appear in Ahsoka season 2 by saying, I'm trying to ring them up, but I can be Rex. I can take my helmet off, please. Yeah, that'd be great. Can you imagine Rex? That would be awesome. The upside of being all the clones are based on the person all the clones are based on. He can play more than one actor or one character. Sorry. Morrison also mentioned that he ran into Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau at Star Wars Celebration, and they all shared a warm embrace. Dave and John, I actually ran into them at Celebration. You know what it's like when you see guys, they got a look on their faces and there's so much going on. I go, hey, remember Boba Fett? And we had a big hug. At the end of the day, I said, look, this guy's probably wild, man. I just want to sit and talk to him for like 5 seconds because he is all over the place. I'm not sure what's going on with you guys, but anyways, I had a great time. Thank you so much. See, I don't know what that quote is supposed to have said. However, that wasn't the end of the conversation. Morrison teased that there might be more in store for Boba Fett in the future, even if he can't give away any specifics right now. And then they kind of said, well, they didn't want to say too much, but it put it that way. There was a few whispers. They didn't want to say too much, but they just left it at that. What? So it sounds like he's coming back in something as somebody.
Well, well.
And that makes you happy, right? Because you want a season 2 of Book of Boba Fett. I know people always get on us. Jack and Taylor and I, when we first started this, we came in. I can't remember when we came in. The first thing we did was Vision season 3 or 2. So everything after that, and we've liked everything for the most part. We haven't loved everything, but we've liked it. And people are like, "Oh, you guys just love everything." I didn't love Book of Boba Fett. Jack and I had some of the similar issues with like the
Mm,
mods and the slow speed senior citizen Vespa chase through the city. But you love it. You want a second season of it, yeah?
yeah, absolutely. There was something really kind of beautiful and special that I found about it, and obviously, Tem put so much of his Maori heritage and culture into it, and it just ended up being something really kind of special for me and really different from Star Wars. I was expecting them to do the kind of Empire Strikes Back era Boba Fett, where he's like super cold, barely speaks, has no voice lines, and is just an absolute badass. I would like to point out in Mandalorian season 2, I know that's the Boba Fett people wanted to see when he's like absolutely ruthless. But I also fully respect the way they told the story with the impact of the Sarlacc pit on him and how kind of difficult and moving that was for him. I get it narratively. I understand it wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but I would be so, so happy to see a season two. I'd also like to point out this man at Star Wars Celebration. First and foremost, he couldn't sit still for 5 minutes. I think he was up dancing and doing whatever, and I loved it. And I feel like the interviewers were struggling to wrangle him, but he brought his little girl out on stage and very bluntly was like, she would make a fantastic Omega, and the crowd went wild. So he is constantly shooting his shot, and I love that for Tem. I love that so much.
Yeah, he's putting himself out there and his family. I will say, like someone of my age, growing up with the mysterious Boba Fett in the background, they're no good to me dead. Those kinds of comments. I mean, that's about all he ever said. Um, and then you saw him in season 2 of the Mando, and he just destroyed those stormtroopers. And I thought, this is what we're
Hmm.
getting. You know, this is going to be amazing. And then, like I said, I get it. I really like the stuff with the Sand People, with the Tusken Raiders, um, and I get it. Coming out of the Sarlacc pit, that would change you in one way or another. I think I'd be angrier, but I guess maybe he just enjoys life now. But yeah, it was a little bit for myself. Like, I guess it wasn't what I was expecting. And as a Star Wars fan, you got to be careful with your expectations because you're not the one creating these things. You just need to go along for the story.
Hmm.
So there were a lot of good, cool things. You had Cad Bane. You had a lot of stuff that was awesome. So not my favorite series, but I would watch a second. I mean, I'll watch whatever they put out, but second season of
Same.
that would be good.
Nice. So next up, we have from Sci-Fi and Fantasy Gazette. If you guys remember, Mark Hamill made a somewhat of a stir near the end of May when the Luke Skywalker actor, in a roundabout sort of way, stated that he was done with Star Wars. He initially said, "But my deal is, I had my time. I'm appreciative of that, but I really think they should focus on the future and all the new characters." Completely fair. Now, in a new interview with Sunday Today, Hamill provided a little bit more context. He said, "I don't want to make a big pronouncement like this is my decision. I'm just saying that it really felt like a conclusion. My character was given complete closure. I died, ironically, by overdosing on the Force, I might point out. And once again, the Skywalker trilogy was over. It was a whole new era for them. George gave them this amazing canvas, this entire galaxy. They can do westerns, mysteries, comedies, whodunits, anything within that realm of the Star Wars. And they're doing so well. I love Rogue One, The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. I just say I had my time. I'm really appreciative, but I'm really looking forward to the future for all these new projects." He continued by saying, "But I do know that when I mention anything about the space movies, it gets extra scrutiny as opposed to me talking about anything else. And I said that, and then I saw headlines, 'Mark Hamill quit Star Wars.' Let me just say, they haven't asked me, and it's not like they've said, 'Please come back.' Come on, how much can you do with the Force Ghost? But I'd like to see a movie set in the Force Ghost realm. I can have conversations with Alec Guinness."
I'd pay money for that.
Yeah.
All the Force Ghosts is chatting about things. Hey, what's up? Nothing, just chilling. Force ghosting.
Vibing. If anything, I really, really appreciate Mark Hamill's transparency and the understanding that the media are often very guilty of taking things wildly out of
Oh,
context. Like, no way did he, no, never. In no point did he say, "I am quitting Star Wars." It was just a kind of clickbait shortening of what he said. And obviously, he took some time kind of responding to this. And if it was me and I was in charge, I would let him take a break from physical acting because obviously he's getting a little bit older now. The man deserves a break. He's done an awful lot for the franchise. I would get him in a sound booth and I would get him to do the voice for Luke in an animated like Luke and Ben series. That would
yes.
be that would be my suggestion
There's
because he's
so
such a fantastic voice actor.
yeah, I couldn't even imagine them filling in that space of Return of the Jedi to the Rise of Skywalker, not to the Rise of Skywalker, to the Force
Hmm.
Awakens. Like that would be fantastic. And I know people are probably like, "Oh no, not animated," but they do some intense stuff in animation, man. So yeah, and I get this too as well. Like, I mean, how old is he? Is he in his 70s? Like, he can't be
Uh, yes, I
somewhere
think
in there
so.
like that. So I mean, yeah, and he's done a lot. At some point, he's an actor. He wants to do other things. So, but yeah,
But yeah, let him rest, let him chill, and give him some voice acting to do in Star Wars because that could be so, so, so much fun. I would even love to see him. I don't know how it would even fit in the timeline, but like Force Ghost Luke in like Young Jedi Adventures, that would be so cute, so fun.
that
That's
would be
where I
pretty.
want to see Mark Hamill in Star Wars.
All right. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I'm here for it. I always want more, but I also respect his. He's done his thing. He built a franchise, and we should just appreciate that. All right. So we want to thank Gaming Bible for this next story. Since Acolyte has been back in the news recently, we got the whole hashtag Summer of Acolyte, I believe. Is that the hashtag Summer of Acolyte? Yeah, there we go. And on our Instagram comments, because some of them have not been very nice.
No.
We thought it was important to refresh people's memories as to why exactly the show was canceled. In a Vulture article last December, co-chair of Disney Entertainment, Alan Bergman, confirmed that the real decision behind the Acolyte's cancellation. So, as it relates to the Acolyte, we were happy with our performance, Bergman said, but it wasn't where it needed to be given the cost structure of that title. Quite frankly, to go and make a season 2, so that's the reason why we didn't do it. The Acolyte had a budget of around $230 million. For context, that makes it the second highest budget Star Wars show to date, only coming in behind Andor, which had a budget of $250 million. However, the show was originally allocated a budget of $180 million, and therefore it went over budget. This was the bigger reason that impacted the show's future. To compare it against the other shows, Star Wars Skeleton Crew allegedly cost $136 million to produce, while The Mandalorian cost about $120 million per season. So even taking the original budget into account, they're still far more expensive than the Star Wars shows that they've commissioned so far. So fiscally irresponsible. How do you go over? Like you say, you have $180 million to do a job. I mean, that's almost what 2/3 of the budget, like another $70 million was that, oh, another $50 million, like $50 million over budget. How?
I couldn't possibly begin to guess. Obviously, it was a very opulent and very rich kind of show to look at visually. There were loads of sets, there were loads of special effects, all of those lightsabers, all of that SFX time. There were lots of kind of special effects and makeup, the costuming. Like, for an example, the gold that was used for the Jedi's robes, the gold tabards that they had, that's like moth silk, like spun moth silk. I remember one of the costume designers sharing the reference and the sources for where they got the fabric. That is like hand spun, hand woven moth silk.
Gosh,
That
okay.
is expensive. And then to make all of that for as many costumes as you need, and then they also make duplicate costumes. I think obviously it must have stacked up and stacked up. And I do respect that Leslie Helen had a vision that she wanted to stick to, but I don't think that vision sticking should be at the cost of the budget unless you can justify the use of that budget. Like George ran up goodness knows how many credit card debts to make Star Wars. Kevin Smith, an actor, a director that's another really good example of that, did his first film on credit cards, got himself into a load of debt, and now he's a millionaire. It can be done, but not when you're working with a studio's budget like Disney's, and especially when everything is so kind of micromanaged.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks. And I really hope that they sort something out for a season 2 because it feels like a crime that we probably won't get that.
We've talked about this on the show before about things like this and how like it seems like willy nilly and people just spend the money. And I mean, we're not in that business, so we don't really understand it. But like, um, Gareth Edwards, famous for Rogue One, he created a movie called the Creator, and he filmed it for like between 60 and 80 million. And if you see that film, it is gorgeous, so much
Hmm.
CGI, but he had everything planned out, and he did it for so not that expensive of a movie where it ended up making money because the budget was so low on it. Whereas another movie like that, if Marvel made a movie, the same movie, it'd have been like a $200 million budget for no reason. I don't
Hmm.
understand it. It stinks that we're not going to get Star Wars because people can't. You know, Now if the show had been a massive success and it was the next thing, that doesn't. I mean, obviously, money would not have been an issue if that was bringing in people, but it had the opposite of it. It split the fan base almost as much as
Hmm.
the Last Jedi did. So I get it. I get it. I just don't like it.
Completely, completely fair. In other news, Kathleen Kennedy made a surprise appearance at the BFI screening of the original cut of episode 4, A New Hope. I just want to say, all of my wonderful friends who got to go, Mark, I'm looking at you. I am extremely jealous. I hate you forever. You lucky, lucky, lucky thing. Now, she was there. Lucasfilm President Kennedy introduced the screening, which took place at BFI South Bank, and legitimized the fact that it was being shown. She said, "I'm here to make sure you don't think this is an illegal screening," she said to laughter from the crowd. BFI's chief executive Ben Roberts explained that he had contacted Kennedy when the BFI came across the print in their archives. Now, if anyone's watched the YouTube video that they posted about this, you can see some shots of the archive, and it is huge and almost seemingly infinite. So I feel like this has been hidden in there for a long time. Uh, Ben admitted that he wasn't really sure we were able to show it due to Lucas's tinkering over the years, and he said it was a miracle that the print was in a condition to be screened.
That's exciting. I would have, man, I can't remember the last time I've seen the original format, and then
Mm.
to see it on the big screen the way it was in 1977, like, I'm a little jelly, not gonna lie.
I
A
am
little
very
jelly.
jelly, very, very jelly.
But that's exciting for, all the people that got to go see it. And it's pretty hilarious that Kathleen Kennedy showed up and, just showed up to do that. I mean, just flew over to Europe, over to London. That's a 6 hour flight if she's leaving from New York, and she's probably out in
Hmm.
Los Angeles, I'm assuming. So that's pretty cool that she did that for something that important. Um, all right. This is a really great story. I need to get this. James Caan, for us Star Wars fans, he's most famous for writing the novelization of Return of the Jedi. His credits are as diverse as they are impressive. Emergency Room Doctor, dang, best-selling author, screenwriter, filmmaker, producer, composer, and singer-songwriter. He's worked for the titans of film industry and television, including Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Aaron Spelling, and Norman Lear. He has recently released a memoir telling the wonderful, adventurous, and talented journey of his life. Star Wars News Net did a very in-depth interview with him, and Khan revealed that he even tried to get George to change the ending of Return of the Jedi. Did he get say what he wanted it to change to?
You'll have to read the memoir to find out.
Oh, I'm going to have to buy the memoirs now. All right. So,
Hmm.
Star Wars Newsnet finished the article by saying the through line of the memoir is a reminder to answer the call when it comes, because you may not know when or if it may come again. He implores individuals to pursue their dreams and accept that the possibility of failure may come. Don't listen to the voices on your shoulder telling you that you aren't good enough or no one will care. Khan details how so many of the great opportunities in his life came from simply saying yes and pursuing his passion with everything he could. So go grab yourself a copy. This is going to be a great read. If that's the story, someone
Hmm.
that successful. Now, granted, this guy's probably incredibly talented, and that helps make your dreams come true. But yeah, that's a wonderful story. It's a very Star Warsy kind of feeling. Just go and accept the challenge. His own hero's challenge or his hero's journey. So that's awesome.
The book is called My Jedi Memoir: A Double Life.
Nice. I'm gonna have to pick that up.
I think it's such an important and beautiful message. When I turned 30, I said to myself that I was going to start saying yes to things that I used to like that I would have said no to in the past out of fear, out of anxiety, out of not feeling good enough. And my first year of being 30 has been absolutely fantastic. I've got a podcast, I've joined Saber Guild, I've done so much more than I ever thought I would, all because when Jack came up to me at that con and said, "Do you want to join a podcast?" I said yes.
And
So be
we
brave,
are thankful you
do it.
did.
No, I'm the thankful one. I'm the one who should be grateful.
Oh,
I love you guys so much. Anyway, before I get too soppy, our last little bit of news, and I do think, Jimmy, we are going to have to do a whole episode on this because
oh yeah.
I've got some wires to uncross, some theories to discuss, and some facts to put straight. Here is every upcoming Star Wars film, a TV series, or animation that is heading to our screens or has not been officially cancelled. Here we have some visual display. Thank you, everybody. So we've already had Andor season 2 and Tales of the Underworld. Upcoming, we have got Maul Shadow Lord. We've got Vision season 3, Ahsoka season 2, Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We've got Star Wars Starfighter, which starts filming in September, and that's why Kathleen Kennedy is in the UK at the moment. Very exciting.
Probably Ahsoka
We've
too,
got
right?
Oh yeah, probably actually, yeah, Ahsoka as well. We have got the Donald Glover Lando series, which was never officially cancelled. We've got Sean Levy's Dawn of the Jedi. We've got the Shemana Bay-Chinoy New Jedi Order. We've got Rogue Squadron, which was also never officially cancelled. We've got a Droid Story, which is animated. The Vision short, The Ninth Jedi. Taika Waititi's untitled Star Wars movie, which Kathleen Kennedy said Taika is on Taika time. So that will appear when it appears, I'm sure.
I
We've
know it.
got another untitled Dave Filoni Star Wars movie. We've got the Simon Kinberg trilogy. We've got a Dillard and Owen Star Wars project, which I need to do some research on, not one I'm familiar with. And last one, we've got Ryan Johnson's Star Wars trilogy. So I think we need to do an episode where we rank them by likelihoodness,
I
whether we
100%. I
will ever
mean,
see this.
yeah, 100%. Just watching Solo the other night, a lot of questions about, I know we know the Shadow Lord stuff's coming, but like, what's the Lando series going to look like? And
Hmm.
yeah, there's so much to talk about here. And there's so much. I mean, we're talking two trilogies down here at the bottom.
Yeah,
Dave Filoni's story. Been rumors about that possibly being like the Thrawn trilogy or this Mando and Grogu tying into that. I mean, there's so much goodness, and even Rogue Squadron. What's going on with that? We know. I mean, it'd be nice if they said,
yeah,
yeah, this is canceled or this, because it was like it wasn't going to happen. Then it came back, and I don't know. But yeah, there's a ton to talk about there for sure.
that's 14 movies, 15 if you include the Lando series being a movie. I wasn't sure whether it was docked for a TV or a movie series. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, 14 films upcoming, potentially.
Yeah, so much good Star Wars goodness. I can't wait. Let's just hope we get some of it.
Mm.
All right. Well, that was a big news week, and that's not even the most impressive part of this week's show. Everybody, sit down, or if you happen to be delivering mail, make sure your earbuds are in nice and good. Make sure the volume's turned up because you're not going to want to miss this interview.
Okay, so joining us today, listeners, is a guest who is so elusive that even a galaxy's worth of pirates couldn't get him in the end. This person is also a Jedi in their own right. Listeners around the galaxy, it's Ravi Cabot-Conyers.
Hey guys, how are you?
Really well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. How's
Yeah,
things with you?
For sure. I'm excited. It's weird. It's overwhelming seeing all of the support and seeing people like you, how much you guys are enjoying the show. And you've already built my Lego set. I've seen. So thank you for that. But yeah, it's really exciting. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Like I said, yeah, thanks for coming on the show, Ravi. Super appreciate you taking the time. We are super, super excited to chat. I know Charlie has been dying to meet you. Charlie, start us off.
Oh my goodness. Hi, Ravi. It's so unbelievably lovely to meet you. We're all massive, massive fans on the show. So thank you again. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. How are you doing? How are things going on now? Like, have you settled down? Like, what's been going on? Tell us all about it.
So it's been it's been a little bit settled for the past few months or so. In July, I'm working on a new top secret project that I'm very excited about, and which will mean I was going to go to the UK to go to the London Film and Comic Con, but I unfortunately won't be able to make it because I am working on this project. But I'm hoping to be able to make it to the UK in November, which is very exciting. But yeah, I've been having fun. I've been binging Skeleton Crew, of course, it's still as fresh as ever. I've been playing a lot of basketball. I see the more back on the subject of Skeleton Crew, the more I watch it, I feel like the more excited I am for a possible continuation because I feel like there's so much that's been left untouched that could be really, really exciting. And so, I would encourage everybody to keep binging it because it's so fun every single time. I binged it when it was first, coming out every Wednesday, but I've been binging it again recently and it's so much fun. So yeah, I've been doing pretty well, getting a little busy recently, so very exciting.
All right, Ravi. Well, we know you're in Star Wars, but would you say you were a Star Wars fan before things started. I mean, you got your Grogu there in the corner. We're still gonna.
Oh,
We're talking about. You talked a little bit about your Wall of Whim, which I think you definitely got to set that up for next
yeah.
time. Would you say you're a Star Wars fan, and what would you say outside of Skeleton Crew was be like your favorite Star Wars?
Well, so I'm a huge Star Wars fan. My family has also been huge fans even before Skeleton Crew, even before I was born. I would say my favorite Star Wars movie would be A New Hope. It was the first ever Star Wars film I was introduced to. I was a few days old. I have a picture somewhere that I've shown before of me in a Star Wars onesie. I was a few days old, and so that was I think that's such a funny coincidence because my dad's been absolutely obsessed with Star Wars, and I came out of the womb as a fan, to be honest. I've even become more of a fan over time, and like after Skeleton Crew, even I've become more of a fan because it's so interesting, and also there's so much more new Star Wars like series that have come out and stuff, and new projects like that.
How excited was your family then, like your dad and everybody like that, when you became like, hey, I got this rule, and it's I'm in Star Wars. Like, what's that like in a family that's Star Wars fans and their
Oh
and
my
their friends,
gosh,
like,
it was oh my gosh, so exciting. I was sitting right here when I got the call that I got the job. My dad was on the other side of these doors, and my mom was filming me. My managers had just told my mom, so my mom knew, and she was filming my reaction. And then they said that I got the part, and I heard my dad in the other room go, "Oh my goodness!" And then I walked in, I was like, "I got it." He was like, "What?" And it was so fun. And my uncle Preston too couldn't believe. My dad's brother could not believe it. He's also a huge Star Wars fan. My dad's side especially has always been fans. They grew up with it. They saw it in the theaters with their parents.
Wow.
And so yeah, it's always been a huge thing. We've all
awesome.
So fun.
Awesome. We actually met in London when there was a press event happening down there, and the energy that you guys were giving off. And I remember I came back to Jimmy, and I was like, "This show's going to be insane." I was like, "It's like." It was something like -2. It was freezing, and you guys went round, signed everyone's
Oh my
posters.
gosh. Oh yeah.
It was a cold day. It was a
Oh my
cold
gosh.
day. And I just remember saying to Jimmy, like, the energy that these are bringing, if that's what it's like when it's -3, -2, whatever, imagine what they're like where they're warm, they're comfortable, they're shooting.
Yeah.
And
Well, see, the funny thing about that is on set, it was like at least like 20 degrees, like it were or like 40, like it was so cold. 20 is an exaggeration. It was like 40 though, but it was like, when we stepped on set, we had like blankets, and we had like dressing rooms and stuff, so we would like sit on like we had big beanbag chairs. We would like bring blankets like to warm up.
nice.
It was so cold on set. Obviously not as cold as it was at Trafalgar that day. That was crazy, but yeah, no, we all were constantly on set. We all like genuinely love each other, of course, and we were all on set. Always tried to bring the energy. We were constantly having fun. The crew was having, I feel like, just as much fun as us, and it was, and our, and like it just everyone else in general, the directors, our parents, it was all such a fun experience for everybody.
Yeah, you can definitely see that. You can see it in the show, and I think, again, it's one of those things where, same with Andor, everyone that was involved with that's why it's such a massive success. Same with Skeleton Crew, a massive success because everyone's enjoying doing what they're doing. So the heart, the passion, everything is just getting put into it. Obviously, we've had Carrie on the show not too long ago. I can't remember when it was. It wasn't that long ago, was it? And we did see her back at Celebration as well. And there's always the important question. I had to ask her. She agreed, and you actually agreed, I think, on Instagram as well. Jude Law.
Oh God, here we go.
If my name Jack wasn't on the screen, you would be thinking you're talking to Jude, correct?
I see it. I definitely see. No, I don't know.
There we go.
Like, I don't know. I think it's the hair. I think it's the hair for me. But that might just be because I think everyone is Jude Law. On set one time, I thought that my stunt coordinator was Jude Law. I don't know.
That's
I don't even
class.
know, but I thought both of my stunt coordinators were Jude Law. So one of them was actually Jude Law's stunt double on the show. So that's a common mistake, right? But the second time, George Cottle was he was on Spider-Man with John. He was our other stunt coordinator, and when he walked on, he didn't walk on set. When Jude walked on set for the first time, he came over to come say hi to me, and I thought that he was George. And because they have the same hair, they have your hair, they have the same
Yes.
hair. It's the hair, and I was so embarrassed. I thought that it was George, and I was like, "Oh, hey, how are you doing?" to Jude Law the first time I met him. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's the hair. I'm telling you, it's the hair. But
Nice.
yeah.
So that's officially 2 out of 4 members of the skeleton crew agree that Jack looks like Jude
All
Law.
right.
Moving swiftly on before this man's ego gets any bigger, Ravi, now that you can talk freely about the show and clearly you have got so much to say, which I'm absolutely here for, is there one thing you were dying to talk about on the press tour that was just so, so hard for you to just
Oh my gosh. Let me see. There's so much. First of all, it was a 7-month shoot. So, so much. And even after that, there was we've had the press tour, we've had, conventions. We've been to, I think, all together, we've been to one, I think. But then there's been like separate group. Like Robert and I went to one a couple of months ago. And so, there's been so much. But I feel like my probably favorite episode was either 8 or the one that Bryce Dallas Howard directed with the trash crabs.
6,
That was,
my favorite one as
yes,
well.
yes. Oh my gosh, I get them confused. There's so much. But that I loved working with the trash crabs because it was like it was usually there was nothing there, but seeing like I got to go to the editing room one time, the editing suite one time, which I'm so glad I got to because it's so cool. And so I saw it was like kind of the previs, which is like a little animated version that's not fully finished. So there's like there was the huge trash crab, which was actually like the mama trash crab was stop motion, which is so cool. But they had like a previs version, and it was just I don't know. It's just so cool to watch. I'm myself an editor, and I love seeing how all of that's done, and seeing stuff like that, and seeing the ending too. How it because it's so from the beginning of episode 8 to the end of episode 8, it's like so much has happened. There's such a huge difference, and so just. And there's such a this is my last thing, and then I'll stop talking. But
No, keep going.
It's so strange. It's the best feeling in the world to when you're at conventions, seeing all the support from everybody, because it's one thing to actually be shooting on set and then seeing how well people are responding to it, and how well it's going over. It feels so good. And hearing about like everybody, like I'm telling you guys all my favorite moments, hearing about everybody else's favorite moments and all the things that they enjoyed from the show.
Nice.
So I was fully anticipating that we wouldn't necessarily get a lightsaber in Skeleton Crew, and I think for me, one of my favorite moments was seeing Wim use a lightsaber. How cool was it to get to wield that after figuring out which end is which? And do you
I got there,
do you have one of your own now?
I do. So oh my gosh, this is so crazy. I have at the convention there were so many nice people that gave me everybody was so amazing, but there were a few people that gave me like gifts, and some people, one guy actually made me a lightsaber. Like it was like 3D printed, and he like painted it, and it was so good. It was really good. And then I actually got 2 of those, and then my agent Justin actually he gave us all gifts, and one of the gifts that he gave me was he gave me the actual lightsaber that we used on the show to practice with. Yep.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Yep. I have it upstairs in my room, but it is the coolest thing ever. I have wait here. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go.
Oh,
That's
very
it.
cool.
We both got one of them. Jude got one of them too. And it's craziest thing. It's so weird. But see, I had no idea that I would get a lightsaber. So I was so surprised even just reading it. Even reading the script when I got up to that part, I was like, even pointing it upside down too. Like I'm still holding a lightsaber like that in that episode. That was crazy. And I played as a kid when I think it was my 5th Christmas. I got a Darth Vader costume and I also got a Darth Vader lightsaber. Or no, I got the Darth Maul lightsaber, like with the 2 ends to it. I have it somewhere. It's in one of my cabinets somewhere. But so now like seeing, because at school too, like sometimes people come up to me and be like, "Do you still have the lightsaber? What was it like holding the lightsaber?" And it's so funny.
What was Uncle Preston's reaction?
So sorry.
What was Uncle Preston's reaction? Was he going
Oh
insane
my God,
as well?
so blown away. Everybody, when it came up, we were watching it. My dad was like, "Wow, that's great." But he was on set for one of the times that I held the lightsaber. So
that's insane.
But on screen, it's just it's a whole different experience,
They must have just looked at you and you're like living their dream.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God. Yeah, really though I am. So fun.
Amazing.
You're living all of our dreams, all of us.
That's one of the biggest things about the show. There's so many moments where, again, we were all messaging each other and it's like, that was me when I was a kid, or that is still me now, pretending I've got a lightsaber. Like, there's so many moments.
Yeah.
Obviously, Fern, great news for her. She's going to be the next Buffy. You've sort of mentioned, obviously, you've got something on the horizon. Have you got anything else you're able to talk about? Obviously, you've got the Grassland stuff as well. Very exciting.
Yes, sir. Right now, I am currently in production. I'm writing, directing, editing, producing, and starring in a new short film that I'm working on.
What?
And I'm really excited about that.
How old are you?
So I also have a new animated series coming.
I love animation.
I'm working on as I said, the top secret project. Very excited about.
Nice.
And that starts shooting in the beginning of July, I believe. And I'm really excited. It's gonna be so much fun. But yeah,
excited now.
I'm really happy with everything that's going on, and I'm hoping that there's nothing's planned yet, but I'm hoping that there's something that Skeleton Crew something's gonna happen with that. And of course, I'm so happy for Ryan. Like genuinely, I was in the car when I found out, when I saw the post on Instagram, and I was like, oh my, I'm so proud of her. It's so fun, so awesome. That's such a big, like truly, that's such a big deal. Yeah. I'm so excited, Yeah.
Nice.
So I want to dive back into Wim for a little bit, if that's all right with you, Ravi. How similar are you to him as a character? And did you, I mean, clearly you did, but did you find it easy to be him, to kind of embody that?
So I would say there's definitely some similarities and there's definitely some differences, but for me the process was pretty easy because I did a lot of work and preparation before we actually started shooting. I took the time. I created a whole playlist for Wim that I think that is the type of thing that he would listen to, and I journaled in the mind of Wim. And I would say that the similarities are I love my friends. I love adventure. I hate being bored. Like Wim. I hate doing this. I always want to do something. I'm like always doing something. Even at like 11 p.m. I'll be like playing basketball in my room or something. But I just love doing things, and I love my friends the same way Wim does. And the differences are he doesn't have a mom. I have a mom who I love, and so that's kind of the main struggle for him is he doesn't have a mom. But I feel like Wim is really unnecessarily unsupported, and I feel like we gotta get some people supporting him out here. He's struggling in the galaxy, but I loved playing him. There's so much that I realized like when I was reading the script, and then while I was shooting, there's so much I learned about the character that I loved playing into.
That's
Amazing.
awesome. So when you say you journal as Wim, can you walk us through that process? Like, because I'm a high school teacher, and I always talk to my kids and stuff about, like, we talked about Curiana and different things. What's that process like for you? Are you journaling like your day through his eyes, or?
So it depends. Because for the audition process, I did, I took, because we didn't have the full script, so I took the limited resources that we had, which was like 2 or 3 scenes. I think it was 3 scenes. And so I would kind of journal out the moment before, I guess, before those scenes, and also present in the scene in his mind, what was going through his head during those circumstances. And then, once I had the full script, I was actually able to visualize, and kind of, because I had more information about, his life. I didn't realize he didn't have a mom until then. So I had way more information. So I was able to kind of get more creative, and it was closer to a day in the life of Wim. I had, his personal life, what he likes to do, his needs, stuff like that. So I had a lot more to work with. So I got a little more in depth.
Well, that's impressive. You were like 11, right, when you were filming these?
I was, I think when I got the job, I had just turned 11. So when I was auditioning, I was 10.
Oh, wow.
And
All
I'm
right.
14 now. So that was a long time ago. And so I would love to see what's going on now in Atten with another.
I got a 2-part question for you, and one's about you and one's about Wim. Okay.
Okay.
For Wim, let's just say that the stars align and we get a season 2. What is Wim doing in the universe? I don't see him sticking on Atten. I see him going out and exploring. That's the first part. And then if you were ever recast, you get older, you get to be recast. What character do you want to play? Do you want to be a bounty hunter, a pilot, a Jedi?
So what I was having the best conversation with John Watts when we were on our press tour. We all had dinner together, the cast, the directors, the writers, and John was there. And we were talking about, what the characters might be doing in a possible continuation. And I was just thinking it would be so fun. Wim's had his experience with Jedi. He's had a really not great experience for the most part, with Jod as not a great guy, so we think, or from what we've seen, we've seen. So I would say he's kind of leaning more into the direction of maybe possibly being an X-Wing pilot. Ooh. I think a plane just flew above me right as I said that, so I think we're manifesting it.
It's a sign.
Yeah, that's got to be a sign. But so yeah, I think that would be really fun. I think that would be really cool. I don't think he'll ever be recast. I hope not, at least. But I love this character so much. I would love to see him do something else. I'd be happy with anything personally. So even if he were to be a Jedi, or I think he might be force sensitive, but I don't know. I'm just a guy. I don't know, but I think that would be cool. Whatever, really. I'm happy with whatever happens to him.
Awesome.
Love it. Your scene with KB in the Crab episode 6. A huge range of emotions.
Yeah.
Again, we've already mentioned your age. It's not even unbelievable. You're incredibly talented. You all are. Where do you find the inspiration for those sort of scenes like that?
I take a lot of inspiration from Mr. Robert De Niro. I take a lot of inspiration from mostly, I would say he's my prominent one, but mostly I don't take too much inspiration with my acting. I try to steal stuff from Robert De Niro, but I love watching what my not watching. I love communicating with the directors, and seeing what they what they had in mind, 1 and 2, just talking it out with them. and really because Bryce is an actress and a phenomenal one, so that made it so much easier to get this done because one, she knows what she wants, she knows how to work with actors, she knows how to talk with them, she knows what's going through their heads, how they're playing this out, and so that made it 10 times easier to figure this out and to get all the emotional stuff down because I'd say Wim had a lot of pretty emotional scenes.
Oh yeah.
So Bryce is just so lovely to work with, and she's really helpful and what's the word I'm looking for? Giving and helpful. So yeah.
Nice. And then a big moment that Kieran was telling us was the improv of Thanks Jedi. How cool was that?
Oh my god. No, so I think the first time, I can't remember if it was during the rehearsal or if it was during the actual scene where she said that for the first time, but I thought, no, that's so clever. That's so clever. I think it worked perfectly. I think it was a great idea. I don't know. I can't remember if it was during the rehearsal or not, but it was so cool when Bryce had her say it in the rehearsal. She loved the idea, and so she made it stick, and it was great. It was great. I thought it's so clever. Like when you watch it, it's perfect, and the music goes so well with it. The shots are so good. It fits perfectly, and great job. Great job, Kieran.
I love little things like that, little improv moments. Any improv moments from yourself?
What I would say, there were a few. I can't remember any off the top of my head, but there were some like little things, not any like
adds
huge,
to it.
not any huge scenes, but there were some, some little things that I had a lot of fun adding. But the thing was, the directors and Jon Favreau as producer, they all gave us a lot of freedom, and they wanted it to feel as natural as possible. So they gave us a lot of chances to make it our own and make it as natural as we could. So
amazing.
Pretty fun.
So you've spoken about Bryce Dallas Howard quite a few times already with a huge amount of fondness. I have to ask, I'm guessing she was one of your favorite directors to work with, but what was that experience like for you?
For sure. I love all of the directors personally. They all bring something new and something so fun. But what I love about Bryce's directing style, one, she's worked on Mando, so she knows how to work on, because a lot of her episode was on the volume, which we used a good amount of, but a lot of her episode specifically was on the volume. So she was pretty familiar with that and pretty familiar with how to work with it, and she was able to help us work with it. But I love working with her. Another favorite director of mine was John. He did 1, 2, and 8, I believe.
Yeah.
And I loved his episode and all of his episodes. And he was kind of like another kid, like playing along with us and living this experience with us, which was really funny because he was as excited as everybody else, as us too. Like everybody else was as excited about us, as excited as us. But John in particular was having so much fun, and he was, you could see it. And honestly, I learned so much watching them all direct, each and every one. So helpful. Watching on, even if I wasn't in the scene, I loved just watching from the side. You learn a lot. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, what is it like to act with somebody? What was it like for you to be with Robert? Like his character, he doesn't have that elephant head on when he's talking, right? Like he has like those weird things around his body or around his head, or what is that whole process like?
Yeah, it was
throw you off.
It was a big helmet that Robert wore with, like it had a bunch of different cameras on it. It was a camera rig, so it could track his facial movement and stuff. So they could put it on in CGI. But yeah, it was really cool to see, from going from that to the end result. Because I was just talking, straight to Robert's face. Sometimes there would be he would have a suit performer come in, which would wear she would wear the big actual elephant head. It was so cool. And so we got like a little sneak peek in between, like, some of the shots. We would see what that would look like, but most of the time I was just talking to Robert's face. So it's so fun to be able to use my imagination when I'm like looking at him and talking to him,
Yeah.
and see, like, what that would look like. Just imagining what it would look like. And it was so weird, because when I was watching the show for the first time and when I saw the trailer and stuff, I was like, I didn't notice anything different. Like, it felt like when I was acting with Robert that he still had the head on, and like I was actually talking to a weird alien elephant guy, and which was really cool. But we got to do a walkthrough in pre-production, so we did get to kind of experience that for the first time. But yeah, it was really cool. Like, genuinely, it was so much fun. Yeah.
Nice. And obviously, despite your amazing on-screen friendship with Robert, who is your favorite actor to work with in a scene?
All of them. It's tied equally. They all were so much fun. They all had completely. I feel like we're all so unique. We're all so different in our. We all have something new. We all have different. Styles. We all have different. Things that we bring.
Yeah.
And I think that was what was so fun about the show. We're so many diverse personalities that we have. Even John is so much more different than all of us. Jude is also so much more different than all of us. So that was a pretty important factor. But I also loved. I had the tiny little moment with Farah in episode 1, in the classroom. That was so much fun. Carrie is such a nice person. She's also so good. Oh my gosh, she's so talented, and I had so much fun. She's so much more different than Farrah, so it's really funny. She's so sweet in person, and she would always give me huge hugs, and she was so nice. She was so much fun to work with too. I had very little scenes with her, but the scenes that I did have with her were so fun. So I'm very lucky. Yeah.
That's very cool. So I got to ask you, Ravi, I'm a high school teacher. My wife's a high school teacher. We talked to Carrie on a little bit about this. What is your summertime like? Like, for a student, she told us that you guys would run off to class and then they'd call you right back or something. So you don't get like the normal like 2 months off that that I'm enjoying right now. What is your summertime and what's your school like?
Well, it's usually, so when I'm shooting during the summer, Skeleton Crew, we started around the same time that I'm going to start this new project. So for the first like 2 months, I guess, it was like we were a few weeks into summer when we started. So it was like for the first few months we didn't have any school. So it only starts when we are supposed to start school. So
yeah.
I just graduated 8th grade yesterday, actually. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm now going to be homeschooled for high school, which a little semi homeschooled. I'm going to have like, we're going to find like different people that could teach different subjects and whatnot.
Jim is free. He's a history teacher.
Teacher, if you need. I'm a history teacher. Let me know.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, that would work perfectly, because yeah, so we're just kind of trying to, and whenever we get to pick when I'm talking so fast, sorry, but we get to pick when my school would start now, because it doesn't really matter. I think we're gonna start like early September, because
that'd be good.
I think we finish. I have no clue when we finish shooting, but we're thinking of starting in early September. So yeah, it's not that difficult to balance set and school and making that work. It's pretty
Okay.
smooth for the most
Well,
part.
All right. Very cool. Yeah, because it can be
considering
difficult and just jumping back and forth and stuff like that. It's got to be a little bit challenging.
Well, yeah, it is most of the time. It is. It sometimes you don't even really realize it though, because we know when you're walking alongside, a bunch of aliens and stuff on set, and you just come in and you just come in and sit in a white room next to papers writing down work and stuff. It's kind of weird the first few times, but then you just get used to it. It's just the routine. You're just the same thing every time.
Very
But
cool.
I had a great teacher named Lois, who was kind of crazy. She was so, oh my gosh, she was so fun. She was so fun. And so yeah, she made it very easy because
That's
Nice.
it's so fun. So oh.
Well, considering you're directing, editing, producing now, I can see how school just slowly slips down
Yeah.
the list.
I know.
That's fine. That's
Not
allowed.
really for me though, because I love school. So
Oh,
I'm
okay.
a rare case. I find it very fun, but that's probably because we spend a lot of time outside, and I like being outside. So yeah, that's probably a big part of it.
You love being outside and you clearly love adventures. One of my favorite scenes out of Skeleton Crew is when George just puts you, a child, in the gun turret and off you go. The way your eyes light up, maybe it was acting, maybe it wasn't. How did it feel like being in a real spaceship for you? Were you able to kind of imagine past the point of all the blue screen and be like, I'm in it, I'm winning?
It pretty much felt like I was actually experiencing it. It was like maybe 75% real reaction and like
Wow.
25% acting, because I was, of course, I'm focused. I'm in my character's mind, right? But I'm so Ravi is excited by what's going on, of course. It was so cool. There was, I think some of it was, like when I was being lifted up, that
Yeah.
part was on the ship. So there was no really blue screen there. But then when I actually got up and, I was in like the shell, I was like looking at a blue screen, but it like felt like I was actually like in space, because the whole thing was like shaking, and there was like a bunch of like lasers flashing, and it was so cool. It felt real, which normally would be scary, but it wasn't scary. It was just really fun, and it felt like it almost felt like I was in a Star Wars series. That's how I
Wow.
was. So yeah, but it was so much fun, and I think Wim was personally born to do that. So
Yeah.
waiting his whole life for that moment. Yeah.
Nice. Ravi, you were amazing in Encanto as well. Clearly born to be part of Disney. And I know you've been asked this so many times, but how did it feel to be, part of Star Wars at such a young age?
So much fun. So it's the best feeling. Um, when so there was, of course, so many. I've heard by a few people that I am the youngest Star Wars character to hold a lightsaber, one of the youngest. So
Oh.
that is really that I was so surprised by that, and I
Whoa.
was so. It's such a good feeling, really. It's hard to put into words, but it's been such a surreal experience. This was, oh gosh, this was almost 3 years ago that we started shooting for the
Crazy.
first time. So it's been a while. And I remember when I first, I first did my audition, and then I had a Zoom with John, the director, John Watts. And we talked about like a bunch of, even stuff that wasn't even related to Star Wars. Like there was a squirrel right outside that window that we were talking about, and we were talking about his dog, and so then after that, I had got the part, which I was very very happy about, and I had John had told me that he basically told me that I got the part on the Zoom. He said, "Well, I look forward to working with you. We'll start figuring things out soon." And I was like, "Okay." I didn't know
Crazy.
what he was talking about, but yeah, my mom definitely knew what he was talking about, and I was just so lost because it's overwhelming.
Yeah, I bet.
So I had no idea, but I'm really happy. It's been so much fun.
What was
I would love to play this character again.
what was the pressure like? Obviously, being Star Wars, the fan base,
The
everything
funny
that goes
thing is,
around with Star Wars.
there was no pressure at all on
That's
set.
good.
It was not. It was everyone was so one, focused, and
Yeah.
two, everyone left created space for us to like during the emotional scenes and whatnot. There was
Yeah.
it was a closed set. The directors made sure everyone was it was tight, and we weren't there was not much room left for talking in between takes when we were doing those emotional scenes. But yeah, everyone was so good and fun to work with, and we felt physically and emotionally safe.
Good.
On set. So, yeah.
Amazing.
I need you to know, Ravi, that before Skeleton Crew came out and after the trailer dropped, there was a kind of universal agreement from the Star Wars fan base that nobody was going to bully you, nobody was going to be horrible to you, and nobody was going to criticize the show because you were all kids and you all deserve the chance to be amazing and be supported. And I think this was the show that brought the fandom kind of back together. I'm sure you're aware of the divided history of the fandom menace. And
Yeah.
I really think that Skeleton Crew was the thing to bring it back together. So I have to ask, I have to go back to this Wim playlist that you made.
Yes.
1, is it public? 2, can we get a link? And 3, can we have a song off of the playlist, please?
Yes. Okay. So I was thinking of this didn't work out, unfortunately, but I was thinking of every week dropping one of the songs for each of the episodes, which one fit each episode the most, because I was kind of taking inspiration from all the different episodes for my playlist. And so, but I would love to make it public. I would say I'm for sure going to do that. But one of the songs I'm hopefully putting it on Spotify. One of the songs was, I had a multitude of songs. There's definitely a lot of Bruce Springsteen on there.
Nice.
I have Gin Blossom, John Williams, of course, you got to have him on there. Let's see what else. Oh gosh, it's been so long. The Cure is on there.
Yes.
Yeah, I've got it all. But I'm for sure looking forward to making it public.
That'd be awesome. So we got one last question for you. Did George Lucas show up at all? Something we forgot to ask Carrie on. Did you get to meet George or anything on any of the premieres or anything like that?
Unfortunately not. That would have been oh my gosh, that would be a dream come true. But I don't know if this this might be cool, but I did actually FaceTime Tom Holland on set.
Oh,
nice.
Which was exciting. So there's so many people. John was on Spider-Man, and so there were so many other people that were on Spider-Man from that project that worked on Skeleton Crew. And one of them was George Cottle, who Mr. Jude Law impersonator. And so we were doing stunt training once. We had a huge stunt warehouse, and at one point, he had said that I was picking up on stunts faster than Tom Holland, which was really funny, and also a huge accomplishment that I'm never going to live down ever. But he just decided he wanted to show Tom our progress and what was going on, and so he tried sending him a video, but instead Tom Holland just FaceTimed back. Instead of watching the video, he wanted to see us in person, or not in person, but he wanted to talk to us. So that was probably one of the coolest moments of my life. And the funniest part about it was my guess is he was shooting Uncharted, but when he was FaceTiming us, but he was in his he was shooting something. He was in his trailer, and he had his phone down here, and he was like, "Hey, what's up?" Which was so funny because I've never seen Tom Holland like that. But it was so funny, and one of the coolest things ever. So,
Very cool.
yeah.
Amazing. And on that note, being one of the coolest things ever, thank you so much again
Yes,
for coming on the
course.
show. We
Thank
really
you.
do super appreciate your time. Thank you so much for all your hard work on the Skeleton Crew. Like Charlie said, bringing the fandom back together. Again, in my opinion, you sort of saved Star Wars in that respect.
Yeah.
Again, just thank you so much, Ravi. You know, we
Thank
said
you.
the same to KB. For a young adult, incredibly talented, from
Thank
the
you so
bottom of
much.
our hearts, thank you so much. We really do wish you all the best going forward. If there's anything now that you'd like to promote, Grassland, whatever it is, Ravi, the floor is yours. Let the listeners know.
Yep. All right. So, Grassland, streaming now on Apple. Oh gosh, I've got a few animated series is out, and I've got an animated series coming out, and I'm working on my top secret project. I'm definitely going to have my playlist released at some point in public on Spotify under Ravi Cabot-Conyers, which I'm hoping will be public sometime soon. So, sometime in the near future. Where's it public? Oh my gosh, wait, I don't even remember. I think it might be public now. Oh gosh, I don't know. Well, you go ahead and check. I don't even
We'll
know.
check it out.
Go ahead and check if it's public now. I can't even remember at this point. There's a lot going on, but yeah, stick around. I'm very excited for all that's going on, and thank you guys. I had a lot of fun today.
Awesome.
All right. What an amazing young man. As a high school teacher, to think about a kid who was in 6th grade at the time of filming, and then some of the stuff he's talking about as he's going to be a freshman in high school. I can't get kids in high school to do their homework in my class, and this kid's doing extra work. And what an impressive young man. I'm so thankful we got to talk to him. But if you have any questions or you just want to have your voice heard, then DM us on our socials, send us an email or voice note at exploretheforce@gmail.com. And remember to like this episode, share it with your Star Wars friends and family. To follow us on our social media platforms, all you have to do is search Explore the Force, all one word, and you're watching on YouTube. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
I like that at the end. Keep that. Also, if you want to show your support and spread the word around by image as well as voice, then head over to our Redbubble and search Explore the Force, where you can purchase unique merchandise. And a massive thank you to everyone interacting with us via our social media. You keep this podcast amazing. And we now have a Discord with loads of fun channels, loads of fun discussions on. It's a little one step to us getting to Patreon, so you get to be a bit more involved with what we do on the show. The link is regularly added to our Facebook group and to our other social media. It refreshes every week or so. So keep your eyes peeled and join if you're interested.
It's a nice, safe space to talk Star Wars. You're allowed to have your opinions, but if you're a butthead, you're going to get kicked out on your keister.
Yep.
But that's not a butthead meaning like we don't agree with you. It's how you talk to us and how you talk to the people in that group chat. A safe space to talk about Star Wars, what you like, what you don't like, what can we do to make it better. So join that. Let us know if you need the link. All right. So you have been listening or watching Explore the Force. We have spoken. We'll see you guys next week.
At the end, do you understand?
Close your eyes. Feel it.
I am a sedative.
As wise as Master Yoda, as powerful as Master Windu.
They'll do their job well. I'll guarantee that.
I am going to end this once and for all.
Chewie. We're home.
You were the chosen one!